Hey everybody, this is Jake from Side Door Media. This is the follow-up video for people who have downloaded the free vocal chain for TRex 5. And first off, thank you for downloading it. I hope you guys put it to good use and it helps you out if you're newer to the mixing. We're going to go over all the processing done to the vocals. So the first thing that we did was a Deesser. There's a lot of choice when it comes to where you place a Deesser. I usually do at the end of the vocal chain. This vocal I did at the beginning. It's really determined about where it works the best. Sometimes you need two Deessers, one in the front, one in the back.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay?
So when you're doing de-essing, you want some action in the high frequency range, but not a constant de-essing going on. If you push it too hard, you're going to sound like you have a lisp. With all this processing, it's a little tweak here and there. It's something I talk about in a lot of my videos, is that mixing isn't doing huge sweeping changes. It's doing a lot of small stuff, and over time that builds up to a better vocal. Second thing is the TRex EQ 73. And the 73, I'm just using this because this is a EQ. This is a Neve style EQ and a Neve style preamp. So you're on the mic input. You're not online. And what you do is, I'm just trying to get a bit of warmth. You know, a lot of us are recording in our home studios, and we might not have a lot of outboard gear, some awesome preamps that can warm up the signal. So this is a good way to do that after the fact. So I'm gonna play with it and we'll talk about it.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay? My luck been running out. Larry Bird had his ass a clover. Michael Jordan had a Pippen. Wake me up when it's all over.
So you can see, you know, we're boosting the input and then we're backing it back down on the output. And I'm not using the EQ at all. After that, I like to split my EQing. I like to do my subtractive EQing first before I do compression. Just because when you go to compress, you are going to squash that signal. And so the frequencies that you would have taken out if you EQ'd beforehand are now being even raised up even more. So they're a bit harder to take out. In my view, with mixing and stuff, you can do things totally different, but this is just how I do it. Whatever works for you, just rock it, you know. And the good thing about this this plugin is, say you want to put the EQ up here, you know, in front of your first compressor. I mean, behind your first compressor. You can totally do that, you know, and see how it affects the signal. If you're new to mixing, I'll just go over briefly about sweeping and finding frequencies to take out.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets.
So what I'll do is make not like a super tight cue, but something pretty tight. Boost the signal all the way up, and then we're gonna sweep. And we're gonna look, probably start around 700 hertz, and sweep down till we hear some boxiness. You're going to hear boxiness around the 500 hertz range, around 250. And then we're going to do a low cut, but I kind of like to save the low cut till after I do these, because if you low cut first, you might cut too much of the low frequency because you're trying to get out that 200 hertz frequency also, and then you're taking out some of the body of the vocals on accident by trying to fix it. So I'll do those last because I know that's around 150, give or take. So first we're just going to sweep our frequencies.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay? My luck been running now. Larry Bird had his ass a clover. Michael Jordan had a Pippen. Wake me up when it's all over. I've been down, but don't fuss. Down in the cup. I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay? My luck been running now. Larry Bird had his ass a clover. Michael Jordan had a Pippen. Wake me up when it's all over. I've been down.
We also have another, we'll have another chance to do some more EQing, subtractive later on. And we'll have another chance to EQ out some of this low end. I'm just cleaning up a bit with that high pass. Next, we go to the Black 76, which is a FET limiting amp based on the 1176, which is like go-to compressor for absolutely anything. It adds a bit of excitement to the source material that you feed it. What we're doing here, let me make this bigger. So these peaks up here, I can tell that these vocals were just compressed a bit on the way in. They're kind of tight, which is fine. You know, probably didn't take too much off. But these peaks up here, just trying to take those, you know, and bring them in just a bit tighter, just to get a bit more focused. And to do that, we're going to have a fast attack, a fast release, 4-to-1 ratio, and then your input is going to be your threshold. And if you want a more natural sounding vocal, I would take the attack and slow it down, slow the release some too. I usually, on my recordings, will go fast and fast. It's on the attack and release, and go for about 5 dB of gain reduction for the most part. That gives you a very upfront vocal.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay?
After that, go to the white channel, which is based off SSL 9K. Been used on a million hit records. And on this, we do a bit of everything. We do some gating, you know, especially on here, he has these pauses just to clean up the recording some. It like I said, it's the small stuff. And this is where I'll scoop out, you know, I'm doing the high pass. I am also, if you have trouble with a bit more of the low end, right here, it's a shelf. You could do a peak if you want to, but I would leave it on a shelf and just take out a few dB, you know, so it just brings this down some. And then what you want to do, this is where I do my additive EQing. So I'm looking for presence, body, and warmth. Get your presence from the high end, your body and warmth are from like the midsection. And then I do a bit more compression, only just like a dB. Like I don't want to do too much because I I did a pretty heavy compression already, so these next compressors are going to be more subtle and at a lower ratio.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay?
And here's it without the EQ.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent $200 on some scratcher tickets.
And how you do this is the same with the other EQ. But what you do is you'll boost the frequency super high and sweep it till you find like, oh, that sounds good, but not at that level. So bring it back down. I stick around 3 dB, 3.5. I usually don't go more than 4. Especially on these vocals, I feel like you don't need to work with them that much. So just do that for all your 3 frequencies. And then you could see I was doing about 1 dB of gain reduction at a 2-to-1 ratio. So like I said, very subtle. After that, I'm trying to glue it, the EQ. We boosted with some of those EQs, so I'm trying to bring it back down some just to get it more in the pocket. And what you do is I'll go a lot slower on the attack and release. With the 1176, I was trying to get those initial transients and bring them down. Now I want to get those transients that were after the initial and smooth those out too. Here, I'm only about doing 2 dB of gain reduction.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent $200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay? I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues.
So it just smooths it out a bit. Then what I do is I do one more EQ move just to add a bit of presence to the vocal. And this is the TRex take on the Pultec, which are both called the EQP 1A. One thing I like about plugins that don't give you, especially if you're starting out, or go for plugins that don't give you a ton of options. You know, you only have these frequencies to work with on the high end, only these frequencies to work with on the low end. Those have been picked for a reason. It's a good way to start what frequencies are good to work with and which ones you should stay away from. What I'm looking for is just a bit more presence in the top end, just to cut through the beat some.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent $200 on some scratch.
So it just does a little boost. And last I just did a reverb, and just to give it a bit of space. These type of vocals, it's not spacey or anything, or anything like that. So the reverb mix is pretty low. And what I set are 2 things. This fader controls your pre-delay. So that just gives a separation between your vocals and the reverb, because if you have it all the way down, what can happen is your vocals will feel farther back in the mix. I set this first fader for the pre-delay because I want you to be able to easily change it depending on what type of beat. This is a very dry type vocal, so you're really not going to do like, I'll show you.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking.
He sounds like he's standing away from the beat. He's not there at the mic. So we add a bit of pre-delay. There'll be a bit of separation between him and the reverb, so he'll sound more up front. He's still going to sound somewhat farther back because I got the mix up. That's what I set this fader as. But this is just going to give a good example.
I'll probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent $200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay? I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay?
So like I said, this one's for the mix. And like I said, this is going to be a really small amount of reverb.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets.
There's a few other things you have to remember about reverb. Is the reverb time. So we could probably back off on this a bit for this beat. Let's see.
I probably kill myself from bottle sipping, okay? Cause I be drinking just to solve my issues, okay? I spent 200 on some scratcher tickets, okay? And I ain't make a buck on none of them bitches, okay?
See, like, he really doesn't need much at all. I'm practically, 4%. The other thing you always want to do with your reverbs is a high cut and a low cut on them. Especially a high cut. Low cut also because you want to scoop out that bass so it's not filling up that frequency range. But especially the high cut, get rid of some of that harshness on the reverb. Click on the Advanced tab, go to Color, and there you are. Put this all the way over and you'll get the cuts. And then you can scoop them out. You kind of are looking just to have that reverb effect, the frequencies around your vocals. So that's what you're trying to affect. And that's it. I hope you guys get something out of this. If you're just getting in the mixing, it could really help you out. I hope it helps out. And TRex puts out some really good plugins. I didn't use them. I've had the plugins for a while and I messed around with Black 76, but I started getting into the white channel and the EQP1A. I love this thing. So I would suggest get this bundle because this is going to cover 90% of what you need. The only thing that they don't carry is a good delay. They have a tape delay, which you could use on an aux track, but I'm looking for something a bit more in depth. Anyway, I hope you guys get a lot out of this. If you need me for mixing or mastering, please email me at sidedoormedia.email@gmail.com, or you could visit the website sidedoormediastudios.com. There's a way to message me through there. Leave a comment. Everything that I've talked about will be in the description. The multi-track for this session, a link if you haven't yet. Download the free vocal chain. Anyway, peace, guys.